rapper Fat Joe has been hit with an explosive $20 million lawsuit for allegedly coercing his ex-Hypeman into thousands of sexual acts. In a graphic 157-page lawsuit, Terrence T.A. Dixon.
If you thought the crazy lawsuits in hip-hop stopped at Diddy, think again. Because now, Bronx legend Fat Joe, yeah, the same guy who gave us bangers like Lean Back and All the Way Up, is in the spotlight for something that's got people doing a double take. But this time, it's not about music, not about taxes, and nope, it's not even about beef with another rapper. It's about accusations that are honestly disturbing, involving sexual manipulation, labor exploitation, and a $20 million lawsuit. And the person accusing him? It's not a woman, not a side chick, not a label artist. It's his own hype man who worked with him for 16 years. Let's get into this. Before we move on, just a quick note. We're a brand new channel with very few subscribers. Help us reach our first 1,000 by liking the video and subscribing. It keeps us going. So, let's rewind a bit. Fat Joe, real name Joseph Antonio Cartagena, has been in the game since the early 90s. He's not just a rapper. He's the guy who brought up Big Pun, helped push Remy Ma, and kept the Terror Squad name alive for decades. But he's also not new to controversy. Back in the early 2000s, after Big Pun passed away, Joe had a falling out with former Terror Squad member Cuban Link, an altercation that ended with Cuban getting cut in the face. Joe's always denied any involvement in that incident. Then there was Big Pun's wife, who came forward later accusing Fat Joe of stealing money and mishandling Pun's business affairs. Again, Joe denied it all. And then in 2012, Joe pleaded guilty to 2 counts of tax evasion for not reporting over $3 million in income. He served 4 months in prison in 2013 for that one. But now, let's talk about what's making headlines today, and it's way more disturbing. The person behind the lawsuit is Terrence Dixon, also known as T.A. He was Fat Joe's hype man, bodyguard, and creative collaborator for 16 years. He toured with him, performed beside him, and worked closely with Joe's circle. But according to a 157-page lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York, that was just the surface. Behind the scenes, Dixon says he endured years of abuse. He's now suing Fat Joe for $20 million, claiming a whole list of things like coercive labor exploitation, financial fraud, sexual manipulation, violent intimidation, and psychological coercion. The lawsuit describes horrifying experiences: sexual coercion under duress, being humiliated through surveillance, and being forced to participate in acts he never consented to. And it doesn't stop there. These sex-based abuses were not private, incidental, or isolated, the complaint states. It also accuses Fat Joe of using his status and power to silence and control people in his circle. But what really shocked people were the allegations involving underage girls. Dixon claims he witnessed Fat Joe engaging in sexual acts with minors, and the lawsuit even names 3 of them, with graphic details included. It says Joe would bring women, sometimes underage, into his hotel rooms and force Dixon to engage in inappropriate acts, sometimes in front of the crew. The most disturbing part? It alleges Fat Joe remained in the room to watch, record, and provide explicit direction and commands. Sound familiar?
Would allege that victim 1 was actually a 16-year-old Dominican residing in New York. In exchange for cash, clothing, and payment of her cell phone bill, defendant will get oral and other favors performed on, by the young woman. On one occasion, while driving in New York City, the young woman asked Fat Joe for money to pay for her cell phone. Fat Joe, being notoriously cheap, the defendant claimed to be broke. This upsetted the young woman, who began yelling, cursing, and screaming. He claims there's a second victim. Apparently, this victim is Caucasian. The victim was 15, and according to TA, Fat Joe will fly this victim from New York to Miami to Florida on multiple occasions. He would also say that because the victim looked young, that Fat Joe essentially got them a BBL to make them look more developed, which to me is just nasty work. Now, the other victim, which is like minor doe 3, he will show pictures of them. I'm assuming this victim is no longer, you know, underage. This is from like, it looks like the early 2000s, but he would show a picture of the quote unquote victim in high school at the time that they was being trafficked.
As expected, Fat Joe denies all allegations. His lawyer, Joe Tacopina, told Variety, "The allegation against Mr. Cartagena are complete fabrications, lies intended to damage his reputation and force a settlement through public pressure. Mr. Cartagena will not be intimidated." On the other side, Dixon's lawyer, Tyron Blackburn, known for filing lawsuits against celebs, had this to say to The Independent. Fat Joe is Sean Combs minus the Tusi. He learned nothing from his 2013 federal conviction.
If you guys don't know who Tyrone is responsible for a lot of fraudulent lawsuits in the industry. He's the one who's representing Lil Rod. He, I think, was representing a lawsuit against academics. So, like, Tyrone Blackburn has sued dozens of celebrities. And I think in his last lawsuit, like, the federal judge actually put like a note or like a strike against them where it says, yo, you got to stop filing these fraudulent lawsuits, bro. Like, you're going to get barred. So this is a dude we're talking about. So when Fat Joe got wind that TA was talking to this dude who loves to sue celebrities, Fat Joe strikes first, and he filed a lawsuit against TA for defamation.
Now here's where it gets even messier. Fat Joe has countersued both Dixon and his lawyer. His legal team claims this is all a setup and that Blackburn himself is under scrutiny for unethical legal behavior. Tacopina said, "We didn't just sue a disgruntled former employee trying to revive a false claim from 15 years ago. We sued the lawyer behind it all." And Dixon? He's not backing down. In an interview with Variety, he said, "This is the right way to fight Joe, through the system. You can't fight him no other way. Joe thinks he's a god. Joe thinks he's untouchable." Meanwhile, Rock Nation, who's also named in the lawsuit, hasn't made any public comment yet. Now here's the part that's raising eyebrows. Along with the disturbing allegations, Dixon also claims he was underpaid, denied songwriter credits, and cut out of royalties for years. Which raises a big question. Are all these serious accusations part of a larger vendetta over money and credit, or is this the dark truth about a hip-hop legend? Either way, this lawsuit is going to be one to watch. What do you think? Is Fat Joe being falsely accused, or is this another celeb whose dark secrets are finally coming to light? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. Because in this era of hip-hop lawsuits, it looks like the truth is stranger than fiction.